it live.
Okay.
Well,
No.
we'll do it live. F it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Nintendo Talk Live. I am Bobby, the Nintendo Guru, joined by the guy that has no sense of time zones whatsoever, Zac Erickson.
What's going on, man?
How
The
you doing,
first time I screwed it up so badly that we couldn't even do it.
Yeah.
We salvaged this one.
It's okay. It's all right. It's all right. I have to work tomorrow, so I can't go super late, but that's okay.
Please, man.
At least it's happening. That's all that I care about.
Absolutely.
I love when the times we do get to talk together. It's enjoyable. It's fun. We don't do it that often. Occasionally, we'll hit each other up on Twitter and stuff.
Not often enough. I know that.
I know. That's because I know deep down you're like, this guy's a jerk. I don't want to talk to him. No, I'm just kidding.
No, of course not. No, it's like I just have a ridiculous schedule, actually. That somehow Nintendo Dads, like, I'm always able to put this like Nintendo Dads shaped hole in my week that I can, make sure that we get that done. But everything else sometimes is,
That's good. I mean, listen, you're kind of like me. Well, in many fashions. Like you're the host of the show. The key host. I mean, you obviously have co-hosts and all that, but like you lead the ship to some degree, and as I do with my shows, and trying to keep people in check. Like Justin Masson is just as bad as Sean Capri, so I feel for you completely.
Oh, I don't know about that. I think that there is this. Justin is by far like the. I don't know. We've always kind of. The way I've always thought of it, like Justin is like the actual brains of like the business side and making sure that like the enterprise runs.
Yeah.
And I am like creative director is maybe like the fanciest way of saying what I do, but I basically just like I just get online and have fun. And
that's all you can do. But I mean, like you show up, you got you try to get the show going in a proper direction. You know what I mean? Like, but you always have...
yeah.
And what I mean by that is, like, Sean will try to derail me any chance he gets. And Justin will sometimes do that to you. Like, he'll just, like, throw curveballs in there. And it's just like, really? What are you doing over here?
Yeah, no, it's fun. It's all... I've always kind of seen it as, like a equal but different, like, different roles, but different, but it's all... Yeah, he's crazy anyways. Like that's just so.
It's even worse since he migrated to the.
Oh man, now he's waking up at like 3:30 in the morning, and he's just grouchy every time he wakes up.
I don't blame him, really. I mean, you guys couldn't have helped him out a little bit and like push
not
the
getting
show
him at his best anymore.
It's a little rough. For those that do not know who this fine gentleman is that I am doing this Nintendo Talk Live with, why don't you let them know, Zach, who you are, what you do, where they can find you, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, so I am one of the hosts of the Nintendo Dads podcast / we've got YouTube stuff going on as well. And so that is my by night, and by day I am a registered provisional psychologist, and so like I'm a therapist during the day. So
that's the only reason I brought you on is I need some psychotherapy right now. So I needed I needed a free session. So I figured this was the best way.
Bring it on, man. Yeah, that's awesome.
Real quick, the people in the chat, I just wanted to say hello to Joey Splats, Jonathan Brown, Matthew Knight, Nintendo Talk. How you guys doing tonight? Hope you guys are having a good night. Thank you for joining us. So you sent out a tweet this week, and I too have been the same feeling about this tweet this week. But I had been, I've been saying on a couple of my podcasts since Odyssey got announced pretty much, and you nailed it perfectly, in your tweet, and it's basically, could Nintendo have hurt themselves for Game of the Year this year? Mm-hmm. And what we're basically talking about is, you have Zelda, you have Mario. They're the two big ones for Nintendo, and could potentially the Nintendo fans kind of hurt themselves because they vote one or the other, and then in the meantime you get Horizon or PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds or Persona 5, they start voting those in, and then boom, one of the other guys win rather than one of the two Nintendo games that are probably more I don't want to say more deserving, but probably deserving to win. What's your take on all this? Where you at?
Yeah, well, yeah, like that's the thing is I think it really comes down to if
you froze, Zach. Zach froze, so we're gonna hold a second. We're probably gonna lose him in a minute here, so we'll see what happens. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to kick him. We're gonna kick him, and then I'm gonna call him back in a second here. Let's try this. The title Dream Daddy Bobby is just like, that's funny. You guys are a mess. Zach, are you back? I think no, he's not back. I don't hear him. There we go. Now I can hear him. There you go.
Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, what happened?
Yeah, remember when I said that I put the Netflix on for the kids?
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway,
Okay.
like I was saying, so Breath of the Wild, if it is genuinely, are we like, we're good again?
Yeah, we're good again.
Okay. So if people vote for Nintendo stuff because it's Nintendo stuff, then like, because there's even been this thing where I can't remember where I saw it on. I think it's probably seems where I see a lot of stuff lately is the Nintendo voice chat Facebook group. Mm-hmm. It seems like if does Nintendo stuff get credit just because it's Nintendo, yeah, right? And if that's the case, then Nintendo is going to split the vote.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas if it's genuinely recognized as on its own merits, which is what it should be, then I think that means that Breath of the Wild will win. So
yeah,
that's
I haven't really had much Game of the Year talk as of yet, but I thought, why not dive into this a little bit with you tonight, mm-hmm, and see where things lie. I think I'm in I really do. I think I'm in the same mindset of you. Like, I haven't said this much to people going in. Like, mm-hmm, I loved Odyssey. Not going to take anything from Odyssey. I think it's a fantastic game. But I am done Odyssey. Like, I basically stopped playing for some degree, and I've started playing other games where Breath of the Wild, man, I lost my life for a good month easily. Like, just spending time in that world, going around, doing my thing. And now it's one of those things of, like, I don't view, like, I think Odyssey's a fantastic game. And for those that gave it 10 out of 10s, even those that gave it 11 out of 10s, I think,
Masson.
What the hell?
Masson speaks for himself.
Yeah,
no, I'm just
thank
kidding.
you. He tried to hijack the whole thing. Anyway, so for those
That's
that like,
right.
so for those that like that felt that way, like I felt it was probably a 9.5, a 9, somewhere in that area. I wouldn't have been
that's about what I would say.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been so bold to give it a 10. Definitely not an 11, Justin. I don't know what the hell you were thinking. But my thing is like...
I love that he's got so much crap for that, by the way. Like,
come on, man.
It's just funny to me.
He deserves it. Anybody that does that for that game, come on. Now, if he'd have done it with Zelda, I'd have been like, okay, that makes sense. Total makes sense. But I just feel like with Zelda, I mean, I put like 100-something hours, like 160 hours into it.
I think it's about what I think I probably like, here's the thing, Bobby, is in a couple of weeks we're going in again.
Yeah.
We're for the other DLC.
Yeah,
and I'm totally
crazy.
ready to do it. So
like my thing is this: like, it took me 40 hours, right, before I even decided like, okay, it's time to go beat Ganon. Like, it took me 9 hours to beat Odyssey. So it's like, when you look at the big picture of things, different worlds altogether. Like, it doesn't make sense to some degree, like how it's just total polar opposite, you know. Now I know that like the end game, there's so much more time you could put into Odyssey, but man, I feel like it's Korok Seed season again, and I'm not down with that. Like, it's like, some of this is cool, but now I'm just running around trying to find moons just to find moons, and it's like, okay, yeah, this is you know.
Yeah.
You know,
and like, there's like in Breath of the Wild, it was very much like you could run around and there was so much you could do in that world. You know, even if it was just to go and fight bad guys or like go surf down mountains and stuff. Awesome.
Yeah.
But like in Mario, it's like, because it's specifically a platformer, all you can really do is jump around. You know what I mean? And like, you can capture stuff and that's great, but there's nowhere nearly the same number of things to do in that game.
Yeah.
And so like within the same area, like I will grant that Odyssey has more variety in its visuals and stuff like that, but in general, it's definitely, I don't know, it's interesting for sure.
You already ordered? I think I hear what you hear.
Okay, I'll be right there.
Go ahead.
Yeah, there's apparently somebody at my door.
Okay,
give me a second. Sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
This is terrible. Okay, I'll be right back.
Okay.
Talk to the chat. I'm sorry, chat.
I got it. So, let me see. Joey Splats is going off here. I just want to kind of see what he's saying here. Breath of the Wild wins because 6 months later, we're still talking about it. Mario Hype has calmed down. That's true. Mario Hype has calmed down. I can literally go to about 6 videos where you said it's a 10 out of 10. Did I say which game was 10 out of 10? Mario was 10 out of 10? I don't remember calling Mario a 10 out of 10. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Okay. And then the community... hold on, I can't talk in chat. Need to go. It's Dave, don't you love this? This is like Nintendo Dads 2.0 right now. This is the best. I don't know. It is what it is. But I'm curious, Joey. Are you saying that I said it was 10 out of 10? Because I don't know that I said that. Maybe I did. I could have. I'm kind of old, so I forget these things sometimes. I think Zach might have ordered a pizza and he totally forgot about it, so he ran to go get the pizza. If Breath of the Wild would have came out when Mario did, the conversation would be different. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think that if Breath of the Wild came out now, as opposed to Mario, like if they flip-flopped places, I think it's still Breath of the Wild dominating the conversation. You know, Joey, I don't remember saying 10 out of 10, so I don't know. I might have been saying that I agreed with people giving it 10 out of 10, and that's possible. And maybe I did say it was 10 out of 10. But overall, I don't feel like it is a 10 out of 10. I feel like it's probably a 9.5. You know. Design ideas for the logo. Try a simpler design. Nintendo Talk inside the black border.
All right, I'm back. Sorry.
Okay. Dude. All right. Here. It's okay. It's okay.
We're selling stuff on friggin' like Kijiji Craigslist at like 9 o'clock at night. I don't know. Random people showing up at my house.
That's kind of weird.
We're good.
That's kind of weird. That's kind of weird.
Yeah. I'm glad my kids have the sense not to open the door, though. That they passed the test tonight, which is good.
That's good.
So,
that's good. Could you imagine?
Anyway.
Could you imagine? Listen, let's just change this real quick. Could you imagine sitting here podcasting? The kids let the guy in, and then they bring on, and you like the guy walks into the picture like, "Hey, I'm here to buy this thing."
I'm like, "Who the hell are you?" Yeah, yeah. See this is the good. That was the good version. There's some alternate dimension somewhere where that went horribly wrong.
That would have been amazing. That would have been amazing. So yeah, I think ultimately, I think that for me, Breath of the Wild wins. But I know there's a lot of people that are going to jump on Mario and say that Mario should win. And my biggest fear is it's gonna pull the two Nintendo votes apart and allow one of the other guys to come up through and win. But I just hope I honestly hope Zelda wins. I really do.
I think so. I hope so too. There are some other categories that it's nominated for that I think it probably doesn't deserve to win.
Yeah.
I need to pull this up to see exactly
the music thing. I don't think it's a great soundtrack.
I think at times it is, but
compared to other Zelda games, it's nowhere on the.
And not only that, but a lot of it was more like if it was maybe it is also nominated for sound design, but it's like I could see sound design but not score.
Yeah.
Right. Best audio design, it is nominated. So I could see best audio design but not best score.
Yeah. Same with me. Definitely. Now Mario, I could see winning that stuff if that's in there. You know what I mean? Like, because I think that soundtrack is really good.
Oh yeah, totally.
You know, I think that's definitely a phenomenal soundtrack. Now let's look at the other three contenders that are in there. You got Horizon, which since day one, that one's been talked about as being like. I mean, let's be honest. When March hit, those were the two. You know what I mean? Those were the two games that came out, and it was Zelda versus Horizon. And it was constantly the Sony faithful going one way, and then the Nintendo faithful going another way, and then you had the people in between that were kind of picking, to some degree, who was what. You know what I mean? And now we're at a situation where you are a mess. You know that?
Don't know. Is it because my internet was dying? I was so fast with this. I have my phone plugged into my mixer right now. So I'm actually doing this from my cell phone. And I just wanted to make sure I have enough battery to get through. We got like 35%, man. We're totally good.
Okay, we're good. Okay.
Yeah. We're good. I was just... You drew attention to it.
Oh, I drew attention to it because all of a sudden the camera's like moving all over the place. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Am I playing Doom right now? Is this what's, you know what I mean? Like, So I think we're okay. So
so we got Persona 5. Yeah,
Persona 5. I don't think Persona 5 deserves to win. If I'm being honest.
I don't think it's got a chance.
Yeah, I think it's just... I think it kind of gets lost in the mix. I've heard great things about it, but it never occupied the conversation for that long. Now, PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, I think that could be like the underdog that just... It's got
a zeitgeist about that game that is insane.
I know.
Yeah.
And it's just flying under the radar. And I think it's one of those ones that could just come out of nowhere and everybody's like... What just happened here? You know what I mean? Like this is, you know, it's just a crazy thing. Is that a Steam? Is that a PC only game right now? Right now it's PC only. I believe in the next month or two it hits Xbox One. It's going to be an Xbox One timed exclusive, and then it goes to Sony at some point. Probably a year later it'll hit Sony. So I think
is there? Do you think there's a possibility that could come to Switch?
No.
Nah,
I don't think it hits Switch at all. I think, I mean, maybe, who knows? But if I'm Microsoft, I'll be honest with you. If I'm Microsoft, I'm doing whatever it takes to make it firm up and be a Microsoft exclusive for good. You know what I mean? Like, that's the way I would do it. I would want it to be for good. Tony Baker here in the chat, he said that December 12th it goes to Xbox. So, and Patrick, you don't want to make statements like if PUBG wins beats Breath of the Wild, you're quitting YouTube. Because you don't want to say stuff like that.
Stranger things have happened, man.
Yeah, man.
Like,
next thing you know, he's quitting YouTube, and I'm like,
all right,
remember that Nintendo talk, dude?
You brought this on yourself.
Yeah. You'll be going back to R-Wing, whatever you were beforehand. So what about Horizon? Do you think Horizon has a legit chance?
Here's the thing: is that I am like, as far as like home consoles go, I only have a Switch. I don't have a PS4 or Xbox One.
Yeah.
So I haven't played this. I've heard lots of really great things about it, but especially when it first came out, because Zelda and Horizon Zero Dawn were so close together release-wise, at least my recollection was anybody who had played both said that Breath of the Wild blew it out of the water. Yeah. So I don't like that is the only sort of reference that I have for that, but I think that if it came down to those two, Zelda would win. So
I think I'm a little upset though, because I really felt that Fire Emblem Warriors should have been in the mix, and it was. I'm being
I was gonna say, are you serious? Like, I loved that game. I continue to really like that game.
I really do love that game. I really do love.
But I know that it's like those games are like a guilty pleasure. They're like they're like a bucket of Haagen-Dazs on a Friday night, right?
Exactly.
Like,
yep.
They're very good, but
they're
really fun. But
should be doing. Well, you know, and here's the thing,
and they're bad for you. They're really not as good as you convince yourself that they are. You know, like all of those things.
Exactly. My thing is this: I feel like Nintendo, as good as it did this year so far, I feel like it messed up a little bit on two titles, ARMS and Fire Emblem Warriors. I feel like
timing wise, you mean?
Yeah, man. I feel like they put them out to pasture. They really just, they were just like, here you go, and then boom. Like, ARMS, although I understand why they did it, like, you do that, and then you hit the Zelda DLC, and then you come in with Splatoon 2, and it was done. And
not only that, but, like, ARMS, it feels like ARMS doesn't really have an identity in, like, it's not a fully fleshed identity. Like, perfect example is this DLC that just hit, and they literally are just putting Splatfest in ARMS, right? They call it something else. They change up a few things, but come on. It's Splatfest, right? It is that game is so Splatoon that they don't even they don't have enough of their own sort of identity to what they're doing. So
I agree, and I felt like the other thing too that's kind of hurting is I don't feel like they're putting enough DLC out. Like, where Splatoon, they're at least giving like a new weapon every week. It feels the maps are like whatever, you know what I mean? But then like, it just feels like there's not a lot of content for ARMS. It just feels like it's like, we just got this character, and the last character was what, like a month and a half ago or something like that. Like, it's just not strong.
And we had this conversation last night on Nintendo Dads too, where it was like, where the thing about ARMS is that it's not really a good game to have DLC in, because I think games like Overwatch or any other game where like you insert a new character, like I actually really like Heroes of the Storm, Blizzard's MOBA game, those kinds of games. When you add a new character, it feels like a drastically new way to play that game. Like it really it shakes up the meta, and all sorts of crazy things happen. When they add a new character to ARMS, it's like, oh look, now he's got a jungle mask and he shoots scorpions, like, but it's still the same game, right?
Same game, nothing changes. He's down again,
but they're all the same character, right? Okay. So
he's back. He's good. Okay.
Oh, did I wig out?
You wigged out for a second. Hey, you're back. You're good. Okay. Real quick, I just want to answer the question Joey Splat said. He said, Guru, do you also think that Nintendo messed up this week? Doom, LA, Noir, Skyrim, all in 1 week. I would have got them all, but I couldn't afford it. That's not a Nintendo issue. Nintendo will give recommendations of where games should hit, but ultimately that is completely the developer. And those games, none of those games are developers' games. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, Doom came out and then Skyrim, and they're both Bethesda games. Like, Bethesda should have been the one to be like, you know what, we're going to push this a little bit, or push that one a little bit. But that's not Nintendo at all. Like, I know that
especially.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, especially considering Nintendo did Bethesda a solid in publishing Skyrim, and then Bethesda just comes out and is like, oh yeah, but we're gonna put Doom out the week before.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
like,
I don't understand what they were thinking with that. That made no sense whatsoever. I mean, I'm with you on this. This is the first week that actually I'm just like, I can't afford all these games. Like, between the last 3 weeks have just been like an overload. It is. I have never in my life seen it this crazy ever. You know what I mean? Like, never have I on any console has it been this crazy. It is a madhouse, dude. Every week we are getting solid games, and let's not forget like the brand new Pokemon game came out today, and like 2 weeks from now, or 2 or 3 weeks, whatever it is, Xenoblade's coming out, right? Like, it's nuts,
like that's
dude.
I was just like, okay, well, I know I want Rocket League. And because I actually had never played Rocket League before,
it's so good.
And then I was like, well, I'm gonna have to choose something, and so I chose Doom, and it's because I knew that Xenoblade was coming, so I was like, well, Doom or Skyrim. LA Noire I wasn't really interested in, so I was like, Doom or Skyrim, and I was like, okay, like Skyrim, Xenoblade's coming, and I definitely want to play Xenoblade too, so I picked up Doom, and that game is freaking. I hadn't played that either, so.
Oh, that game was so good, dude.
It's really fun. I just got the BFG in that game. Like, it's just ridiculous. It's so fun.
It's so good, dude. So good. Now my thing is this: like, I'm also huge into indies as well. So I just picked up It'll Do 2. Zoink Games gave me Stick It to the Man, which comes out next week.
We got codes for that too. Yeah. So I'm gonna be playing that.
It's insane, man. Jules is getting ready to launch Mutant Mudds probably in the next few weeks. It's off to Nintendo to get approved. I just got contacted yesterday about another game. A developer reached out to me about another game. Dude, it's just nuts right now where it is. And it's like, I cannot imagine. I never in a million years, coming from the Wii U, thought it would be like this. I never thought Nintendo would be able to pull it together the way they did. It's like, this is just madhouse. And it's like, even if December looks kind of weak right now, I don't think it's going to be weak. I think it's going to get worse, because I think you're going to start seeing some of these companies pushing their games a little bit. Just because they're a little bit nervous about all the clutter, you know? Because you still have, think about it, you still have Wolfenstein to hit next month. Maybe February with that. They might push that to February. Definitely Xenoblade is going to... Dude, Xenoblade's huge. Dude, when in the world did you ever think that Nintendo would put out 3 100-plus hour games? It's nuts, man. It's nuts.
Crazy.
I just can't.
I'm really looking forward to that. Like, I've seen... I played quite a bit of Xenoblade X on the Wii U. I didn't finish it by any means. I've actually never really been that big of a console gamer. Like, the Switch has kind of, like, I think it's just because I have with my schedule, I don't really sit down in front of the TV a whole lot. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I played probably 30 hours of Xenoblade X. I got my mech, and then I was like, okay, like, it's still the same gameplay loop. It's just in a huge mech now. Yeah. So I kind of pieced out at that point, but I really liked it, and I'm really excited to get back into that. All the preview stuff looks really good, and I'm super pumped for it.
I'm a fan of
the battle system. I for a long time for like years, I played World of Warcraft, and I just like the battle system feels a lot like that, where like like in World of Warcraft, like those MMOs where you've got like your row of keys 1 through 9, and you've got all your abilities on there, and they're all on cooldown, and otherwise you're doing auto attacks. Right, and that's exactly what Xenoblade is.
Gotcha.
And so that really felt really good to get back into that sort of style. So yeah, it was super good.
Chibi's a nut. I love you, Chibi. Thank you for coming to the chat and hanging out and all that stuff and talking crazy like she does. Yeah, dude, I'm see, I liked the first Xenoblade a lot. X, I wasn't too big a fan of because I just felt it was awkward. And what I mean by that is this: I had a real problem with the mute deaf main character, that they could psychologically, mentally hear what he's saying, but he's not talking. But then when you're fighting, he's calling out stuff, and you can hear him making calls. And then the minute they get out of the fight, it's like he can't talk again. And I'm like, what is going on here? Like, what is this?
Yeah, I definitely like. There's got to be like a middle ground where, especially when you've got all of those, the different cutscenes and stuff like that. Like, if you are going to provide the player with a choice of like a voice choice, anyways, right? Like, narrow the options enough so that you can do a full voiceover for each one of those options, so that it actually feels like the real, like they feel like a real character. Yeah. Because that I agree. That was a little bit weird. To have, especially when so many of those other characters are so well developed. Yeah. And I think that sometimes they, like, company, their developers or whatever, they still want you to be able to create your own avatar and to put yourself into that character's shoes. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't really. But they still, like, they want to have it both ways, right? Like, they still want to have like this whole big story for that character, which prevents you from even getting involved in them the way that you want to, the way that you would in any other sort of game like that. So I don't know. It's a bit weird. I'm a fan of the weird armor that's in Breath of the Wild. Like, like that character, like the armor design, all that stuff. I think that's it's goofy, but in like a really good way. And it's like,
did you unlock it?
Yeah. Oh, dude, that stuff's so easy in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
It's literally like you literally get a quest, and it gives you hints for 3 different locations.
Yeah.
And then you go and look up into the sky, and a little meteor goes, and it's the chest, and you go get it, and you're done.
Oh, man. I couldn't even find it the one time. I'm looking in the sky, and next thing you know, a dragon come up out of the sky. And I'm like, yeah, you're not supposed to be there, but I'm going to attack you a little bit and try to get some stuff. And, like,
yeah.
And then then next thing it was morning, and I was like, damn it. I missed it. But I'll go back
just set yourself up, like, a little fire right there.
Yeah, that's true.
And so you like go to the site, and then you sleep till nighttime, and then you look up.
Okay,
that's all it was.
I started to mess with the stuff that was like all the different DLC costumes. I started actually going out after the quests, and that's what I'm doing now in Zelda. I actually went back to start prepping myself for the third or for the second DLC pack, just because I want to be able to go back and fight and play. Because if I take a lot of time away and then I try to go back into that game, like right now, I'm afraid to fight a Lionel. Like they scare the hell out of me, because I'm just like, he's gonna smoke me, man. I know that I can outlast him. I just have to go stock up on food, to be able to beat him. But like, there was a time when I could go in and be like, okay, I'm gonna beat you. It's no big deal. Like, you're a no-brainer for me. But those things to me are the hardest enemies in the entire game.
I think so, yeah.
Like, there's even including Ganon. Like, I feel like Ganon was a walk in the park compared to one of those things, because
especially like a gold. Like I've started getting into master. I bought the Zora one. I was like, maybe the Zora one's easier. Now I'm in the Zora one. I've gone all the way through the bird one, all the way to the end boss, and now I'm like going through the elephant instead because I'm like, screw that business. Maybe this one I'll be able to actually beat. So I don't know. It's so hard on master mode.
Dude, I went on master mode. I couldn't even beat a bogoblin, and I was like, I'm done. I'm out. I'm not even messing with none of this. Like, this is... I went in... So the chat's going crazy because you got laggy, and you can hear bits and pieces of what you're saying. But it was like, your face was all weird as you were saying it and stuff. It was perfect.
Oh, good. So I'm going to go back and watch this. This is amazing.
It was great. It was great.
I actually could probably get back on my laptop, but I'm going to leave it for now, just because it's giving good quality content.
So the thing is like, I go and I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna try to play master mode, and I go out and I'm like, I start out and I get a stick and I go down and there's a bogoblin and I start whacking on him, right? And every time I hit him, the dude like flips away from me. Like, you know, I hit him and he gets knocked away, and by the time I get up on him again, he's regained all the energy. And I'm like, I can't even beat the guy before the stick breaks.
Imagine that with a boss at the end of a dungeon, where it's like,
no fun,
where you bring down his health, and then he goes into some phase where he's shooting tornadoes at you, and you got to run away. And oh, by the way, while he's doing that, his health is recharging. It's just like, oh, screw this business, man.
No want or desire to play that way. I'm like, no. There's people out there that love it and get off on it. I'm not that person. I have zero life as it is, and I have the little bit of life I do have. I'd rather do that than do ready to kill myself. You know. I think that I'm excited for Ballad of the Champions. I think I'm at the point now where I'm like, okay, bring it. I'm ready for it. I hope they give us more, if I'm being honest. I wouldn't mind another, maybe one, maybe two more packs. Because the first pack wasn't great. Yeah, I mean, it was decent. But I really have a lot of hopes for this next pack. I think this next pack is going to be pretty awesome. So we'll see what happens with that.
Well, they basically said that it's like another dungeon, right? Like, which I'm going to be honest. I hope that it is a more substantial dungeon than the Divine Beasts were. Like, if we just get another Divine Beast, I'm going to be like, that's not good. You know, like, and especially considering the amount of, you know, some of this other content that they've been bringing in, where it is just those chests. That sucks, right? Like, I mean, it's fun for about 20 minutes, and then you're done, right? And so that's about all you get out of those. And so, like, I want new cutscenes. I want to, you know, we still don't know if it's like a flashback sort of thing or what. It would be cool if we got to like go around and collect some cool, some cool gear or weapons or something. That kind of gives more backstory into each of the champions. I think that'd be really fun. But I don't. Maybe that we'll go into like that. What's that? The temple. There's like this big temple. The huge, like, it's kind of buried underground. The ruins, like just southeast of the mountains in the northwest. You know what I'm talking about? I think that's actually where you go to get go to get like the wild tunic after you've beaten all the shrines. There's like it's a huge area. That looks like there was this enormous sort of thing there. It would be really cool to see that kind of fleshed out because you can tell it was really important and it nothing really happened there.
I wouldn't mind if this one kind of fast forwards a little bit to like 6 months after the fall of Ganon. And you're basically going out and maybe trying to do things to rebuild Hyrule. I wouldn't mind that, but I would love to get something that's kind of like right. Like I have a feeling like this might actually be the fall of the champions, and then You know what I mean? Like, just before everything kind of goes down the way it is. You know what I mean?
Because
like,
they kind of, yeah, they... Oh, come on. What is going on? Oh, you could actually hear this.
I can hear you. I can hear you. But
oh, it's like all of a sudden my phone's ringing. I'm like, what is going on? I'm actually respectful towards my wife. I just tease her like that. She was calling me. I was like, what is going on? My phone is being dumb. Anyways,
that's funny. Chris Berto, what is up?
Yeah. So yeah, it's a funny. It'll be interesting. Yeah, like it seems like there's a lot of hinted stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like they kind of hint towards what happens in the middle parts there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's interesting to see kind of what's going to be going on with that.
Okay.
So yeah. Anyway.
Yeah,
it'll be
interesting. It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out and everything works out. What are your hopes for 2018 for Nintendo?
I don't know. Like the thing is, and we I said this yesterday too, but like you look at the most anticipated games of 2018 category of the Game Awards, you'll notice Nintendo's not on that list because Nintendo has said absolutely bupkis about 2018, right? Like
it's true.
Like all we know is we know Kirby and Yoshi are the only two things they've shown. We are hopeful about Pokemon.
Yeah.
Although I'd say let's manage expectations on that coming out 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Fire Emblem.
Yeah, they haven't.
Fire Emblem has been announced. There's no way Metroid's out in 2018.
No.
I don't know. I think that Nintendo's going to show something off at the Game Awards.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think I've seen you and Sean included. To just call you out. I think that there are a lot of people on the internet right now who are being irresponsible with their expectations of 2018.
Easy now. What the hell, man?
I think you're setting.
What did I say then?
Listen, man. Here's the thing: is that I am a therapist by day, and I need to help people manage to have realistic expectations in their lives.
Here we go. Go ahead.
You need to. Right, because here's what we know is we've got maybe 4 or 5 games, right?
Yeah.
Like 4 or 5 games that we know about that are coming from Nintendo.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. They announce all sorts of things, but there's this little thing of this like Buddhist notion of attachment and expectation, and I am much more interested in letting Nintendo surprise me with what's coming. Mm-hmm. Than being like, oh, dude, we got to have Pikmin. We got to have Animal Crossing. We got to have F-Zero. And like, what are all these other B-tier games that we can dig into? Like, if by the end of 2018, the entire Smash roster is not represented in the Switch's catalog, then Nintendo's failed. Yeah. It feels like that's how a lot of people are acting with this.
I think it's because they want Nintendo to keep the ball rolling. This is how the conversation begins. So Nintendo needs to keep the ball rolling in 2018. How does that happen? So when you think about it, you go, well, the only way it happens is if they do better than they did in 2017. Well, how the hell do you do better than your 2 top franchises in the same year? And that's where the conversation begins. In anything that I've ever said, I really don't believe that anything that I've said, like on the last If We Ran Nintendo, I basically laid out what I would do if I was Nintendo for 2018. Mm-hmm. I know they're not even going to come close to any of that. But honestly, if it's me, I look at the success of this year and I go, Zelda was the start, Mario was the finish, and then we go another 6 months, we come back to the start again, and what goes in that gap? And I feel like the only game that can fit that gap is Animal Crossing. I feel like that's the one that's a huge franchise that will go and then push. And then when you go back around 6 months to where Mario landed, I feel like the game that bookends 2018 in that, if that's what I'm saying, essentially, is Smash. So that's what I've been saying. Like, and I'm not saying it's Smash 5. It's probably just a port of Smash. But I feel like that's where, if I'm Nintendo, that's what I do. I go Animal Crossing in March, I go Smash in October, and I leave it at that. Now, I know they're not going to do that. They're not going to come. We're not going to. Disappointingly, I don't think we see Animal Crossing until 2019. Maybe 2020, if we're lucky.
I think I actually do think that if there is one big title that is likely to come in 2018, it is Animal Crossing, specifically because Pocket Camp is coming out this month, right?
Yeah.
And they want to capitalize on that before. Although, let me tell you a little secret: is that Pocket Camp, I got it on its Australian release, and I played it for about a week, and I'm just like,
I played for 4 days. I played for 2 days, but I stopped playing on purpose because I wanted to be able to link everything to my account, and I didn't want to do it with an Australian account. I want to do it with a.
Well, you can do that.
Afraid.
You can do that with the other one too. Like I did that
I was
with
just afraid that they would be
Miitomo?
like. I was just afraid that they'd be like, "Yeah, you're not doing this, and we're gonna zap you of everything."
Mm-hmm.
You never know with Nintendo, so
who knows?
I'm not gonna link anything together with them. I mean,
so
I'm sitting here, I just got copyright claims on videos, so you never know what Nintendo's gonna do. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, who knows, man?
Yeah,
I think part of it too is like for me, there's a balance between like they had to be 100% amazing out of the gate with the Switch.
Yeah,
and I think that now they're realizing the indies are just like rocking it. There's tons of third parties that are doing great. The reality is that actually takes a little bit of pressure off of Nintendo to pay instead of like every 6 weeks there's a release, or every like 4 to 6 weeks, it could be 6 to 8 weeks now, right? In between big first party Nintendo titles. So I think Animal Crossing is a good candidate. I do think that Pikmin is the kind of game that I think that they could surprise people with, right? Like, and I do think that I think they've even announced that there is some sort of a new IP that will also, like, whatever 2018's version of ARMS is, right? Like that's what that's going to be. So
I think that essentially I agree. Like, you look at what they need to do for Switch, and even in the beginning, like, that was the thing that everybody said, like, oh, there's no games, and now it's like, holy crap, I can't even breathe. There's so many games. Like, dude, Batman just came out this week, and I'm a huge Batman fan, and I'm like, I gotta wait. I can't buy it right now. I gotta wait till next week, and I'm like, because I have everything else coming out. Like, it's nuts. I still want to buy LA Noire. I still want to buy. I want to buy Skyrim. It's like, this is just... I never thought I would ever breathe those words, that there's just too many games, on a Nintendo console. Because coming off the drought that was the Wii U, and I would always make this statement, and I believe what I was saying was, I was in the Nintendo echo chamber. So I would play my 3DS when there was nothing on the Wii U. When there was nothing on the 3DS, I was playing my Wii U. It was just the way it was. Like, all the big hits would bounce back and forth between the two.
Yep.
So because I lived in that echo chamber, I was fine. I didn't have an issue. Now it's just like, oh God, this is madness, man.
And not only that, but like I think it really feels like that a lot too. I wonder if it feels more like that for people like us. Like, I don't know how many codes and stuff you get from developers and stuff like that, but we get absolutely swarmed with them to the point where, like, when we first started getting codes, like at the beginning of the Switch life cycle, it was like, oh, hey, cool, we got a code. That's cool. Who wants it? Like, who's interested in this? And like, sometimes we'd even fight over codes, right? Now it's like, guys, we got another game. Does this look interesting to anyone? I don't know. I could take it if you want. Because there's so many games.
I'm to the point. I'm not that extreme yet. Like I said, I did just get Stick It to the Man, which I dabbled on the PS4 with that. So I'm going to do a review of that one, and I'm excited for that. what was the game that they just hit me up yesterday? There was a game, I just talked about it too, but my mind just went blank on it. It was, God. Skyforce Reloaded is coming to the Switch. It looks really good. It does look good. It looks interesting to me. Reminds me of like a 1942 or like a River Raid or something like that. Like where you're just kind of like going parallel, and you're just, you know, there's enemies coming at you, you're shooting them and stuff. It's a spaceship type deal. Looks kind of cool. Looks really good actually. So I'm excited about that. But that, you know, they came through with that with a code. I know Jules will probably come through with something for Mutant Muds, which I can't wait for that. Dude, did you just see the Image and Form just announced a new game?
What? Must have.
It's not
when?
a new game. It looked today. So what they did was they go, what could all this mean? And they show like a hat, and they show like Iron Man on top of the hat, and then it's like all these clues, and it's saying December 10th. I think it's SteamWorld Heist is coming to Switch, is what they're saying.
Oh, dude, yeah, that'd be that. Yeah, because they had all sorts of hat stuff, right?
Yes, they had.
Hey, give me like 2 seconds. I'm gonna switch back to my laptop. I will be right back. For real. I'll be.
Go ahead. It's fine. Dude, Stardew Valley is that's a good game too. I don't know that I have the time for that one, if I'm being honest.
All right. There we go.
All right, there we go. He's back. Now you're back to your old self again. Mitchell Popish, man, how you doing, buddy? I haven't talked to you since the other night when we played a little Rocket League. And Leopold Victor, how are you, sir? Good to see you. Yeah, man, I'm just... It's getting to that point where I was thinking about this too, because I feel like where the Nintendo dads, where I was a year ago, I feel like we're both on totally different trajectories now. Like we've starting to hit that stride where you guys have a bunch of stuff coming in, I've got a bunch of stuff coming in. We're both doing, you know, big things in terms of like working with developers, not working with developers, but have developers reaching out to us, offering us codes, talking to us, trying to get us to review stuff. And it's like, I'm at the point where I'm like, I don't want to take everything because there's some things I don't want to review. Like it's a weird place to be in. You know what I mean? Because it's like this game.
Well, it's like there's so much, like there's not only that, but like there's only so many hours in the day to freaking play a game too, right?
Exactly.
Like, and we've kind of reached the point where we just had a conversation, you know, behind the scenes last night. We had like a big old production meeting type thing, and we were just like, okay, like literally we like it's like we kind of reached the thing where it's like, yeah, we'll accept the code and we'll at the very least we'll talk about it on the podcast, right? But like. The thing is like for me, if it's really exciting to me and like I play it and it sucks me in, then it's really exciting for my audience.
Yeah.
Right. And then I'll like record a video or whatever. But like, otherwise it's like, yeah, that's great. But you still got to impress me in order to have, because I'm not really interested in dragging a game through the dirt either. Right. Like I don't want to give a bad review to a game. Just for the sake of reviewing it. Like I am here to share cool things with my audience, and and if it's not cool, then I just won't cover it. Like it's you know, so that's kind of how that's kind of like like it's just like a impress me. You know what I mean? And if you're not impressive, then it is what it is. Yeah,
it's like there's guys out there that want to get everything, and I just don't care to get everything. I look at Barry Dunn, right? And Barry, like, he wants everything. And he's constantly, like, showing off the latest and newest stuff. And I'm like, that's wonderful. I know that you like doing that, and that's great for you because that's what your passion is. I just don't have that same passion. I want to play, my whole thing is, like, I want to play video games. I want to have a good time. And then if I get an opportunity to talk about it or do a review here and there, that's cool. I was never a person that wanted to do a review. And I partly feel like when I take a review copy, then I'm obligated to do a review.
Mm.
And there's games that I want to review, and those are ones that I'm like, I'll pay for the game and do a review. It doesn't matter. But if you want to give me a review code, that's cool. Like Flipping Death, I want to review that game. I will do an honest to goodness review on that. Anything that Jules Watcham puts out, like I'm willing to do reviews on that stuff because I'm going to play it because I love the style and I like playing those games. So I don't have a problem doing that. Anything that Image Informed does, like I want to do a review because I enjoy playing those games. You know, it's just like, but then you get these offshoots sometimes. Like I literally one time someone gave me a game, and I was like, this game is just for me unplayable. I don't want to play it. I like you said, I don't want to trash it. I don't want to bag on it. So I'm just not going to review it. And I actually went back to the guy and I was like, listen, man, I appreciate it. Appreciate the code. It's just not something I want to review. And like, I didn't want. Thankfully, he didn't push me to like, well, what do you mean you don't want to review it? Because I just was being like, it's not going to be a good review. Like, just and I had this conversation with Roger when Roger came on. And he was saying, like, they gave him Star Fox Zero. And we know how Roger loves Star Fox Zero. And he was just like, look, I'll be honest. I don't have to do this. I don't want to do this. It's not going to be a good score. Would you rather me just not talk about it? And they were like, yeah, don't worry about it. You know what I mean? Like, because they don't want their stuff bagged on either. You know what I mean? Speaking of Mr. Watcham, hello, Jules. How are you doing tonight? Hope you're having a good evening. Just showed up in the chat.
Jules,
yes,
awesome. Jules and I had an awesome we had a good interaction on Twitter once, where I ran my mouth and then he called me out, and I was like, "Thank you, I appreciate it."
Jules does that. He does that very well. He does it very well.
To be fair though, like that's actually really awesome. Like I really did actually appreciate it because everybody needs a good dose of accountability on the internet. I don't think enough people have that.
like Sean a couple weeks. You saw that with Sean, right? So Sean's talking trash about what was it, Firewatch, and then John Wall tags Sissy. I forget her last name. The voice actor in the game. He tags her, and Sean's like, and she starts replying, and Sean's like, "Oh, I feel like an idiot now."
Yeah,
that's how he got her on the show. Like she came on the show, and he was just like, because he totally.
That's so, dude. Yeah, like I mean, like hopefully there's no like ill will. Like the thing is that there's something about the internet too that completely can bring out like everything that comes out of your head that you then write down seems like it's on equal footing, right? Whereas and it just was like one of those moments where it's like some snarky thing comes into my head and you forget that there are real people who put their heart and soul into this stuff. And then, and then you just like, oh, I'm just going to write this snarky thing on the internet. Burp, burp, burp. And all of a sudden it's like, I appreciate the vulnerability too of like that Jules kind of came right back and be like, yo, like douche move, man. You know what I mean? Right? And it's just like, you're right, actually. Here, let me say something maybe a little bit more I don't know, more thoughtful and sensitive and anyways, so
you know what the thing is I feel like here's the thing. There was a time when you and I could have got away with that.
Oh, yeah.
Because
absolutely
we weren't doing what we do now. And now when you do what you do now, you go, well, I can't really always say what I'm thinking. Because next thing you know, you get called out. I
think what you're trying to say is with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Which is like a really like it's this weird thing where you're like, oh yeah, we're just screwing around on the internet and talking. Oh wait, there are like, I mean, like Nintendo Guru's got over 1,000 subscribers. Like there's 1,000 people who actually care about what you say on this topic.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, wait, like that actually makes it like that's important, and like what are you gonna do with that, right?
Yeah. It's nuts. Because listen, I'm the idiot that like I started doing my Twitter, I started doing everything, and I'm like, listen, maybe my mom will subscribe to the channel if I'm lucky. My mom doesn't subscribe to the channel. She thinks I'm an idiot. I just told her. So last week, I text her and I'm like, Mom, I'm going to New York City. And she's like, for what? And I was like, I got invited to this thing by this company called Ojo. She's like, what's that? So I like send her pictures of what it's supposed to be, and it's, you know, for those that don't know, it's the projector, it's the dock projector. So you take your Switch, you drop it into a dock, and it projects the image on the Switch onto a wall or whatever surface.
Does it run off the? Okay, does this? I actually have seen like I have seen that you have videos of this. I've seen stuff on Twitter. I haven't watched any of this. Does this run off the power of the Switch?
It runs off the power of the Ojo.
Okay, so it's like
so the Ojo has
the Ojo.
You charge the Ojo up. It has a battery pack built into it, so it is enough juice. It'll run the life of your Switch. So when your Switch gets about 3 hours of gameplay, this gets about 3.5 hours. So when your Switch is dead, this is running. You know what I mean? Like they're going to run parallel to each other. It also charges your phone. You know what I mean? So you can actually plug your phone in and charge it. Yeah. You can hook your PS4 to it, your Xbox One, all because it has HDMI. You can actually hook your telephone up to it. So if you wanted to, like, just saying when Nintendo didn't have Hulu, well, Nintendo doesn't have Netflix. So let's say you want to watch Netflix, you could plug your phone into it, and then it'll project up on the wall, that stuff. So I tell my mom about it, and she's like, "So why are you going?" And I'm like, "Cause I want to go check it out. I want to see what this thing is." Like, Mom, do you understand that, like, it's not every day that some schlub in New Jersey gets an email or gets a message to be like, "Hey, can you come to New York to check this out?" Like, this is kind of big. Like, this isn't like a little thing. She's like, "Oh, okay, just be safe." And I'm like, "Oh, woman, you're killing me. Like, you're killing me, man." You know. So
that's awesome.
You
don't appreciate, Mom. What's going on, Mom?
This is the thing that pisses me off, right? So every Thanksgiving, every Christmas, whenever we get together, right? Christmas is the main one. She'll come up. "Adam Leonard, how are you doing, sir?" Every Christmas, my mom will come up and she'll spend the night. She'll come up Christmas Eve. She'll stay over, right? Me, her, and Tony wake up in the morning. I wake them up at 5 in the morning like a little kid. I'm like, "I need to open my presents. Let's go. Get up, get up." We get to, she's yelling at me every time. And so we open up
Bobby, boy,
I do. It's so bad, dude. I get up and
Bobby, come open your present.
I get up at 5 and she's like, Are you really doing this? Like, seriously?" And then my wife comes down and my mom's like, "He's such a little baby, isn't he? He's got to get his gifts and stuff." And my wife's like, "Yep, every year." And I'm like, "Don't even try it. Because Tony,
like,
you want your gifts just as bad."
Man. You come in like you're like button up pajamas and you're like big crocodile slippers.
Yeah. I'm bouncing off the walls, dude. I'm like, "Let's go. Come on, let's do this." Yeah. So every year, right, I'll get her to come downstairs, or she's downstairs, and I'll turn on, like, the Apple TV, and then I'll start, like, playing, I'll start mirroring up, like, different podcasts that I have. Like, "Hey, Mom, check this out." She loves Toby, because she loves his British accent, right? Nice. She loves Sean, because Sean was singing to me in a couple of the earlier episodes of If We Were on Nintendo. She don't like her son. She's just like, I don't need to see you. She's like, Dude,
she saw you for like at least the first 20 years of your life. Like,
yeah.
You know, you're old news.
Yeah. But here's the best. She'll go, "Can you put on Tony's video?" My wife, Tony. "Can you put on Tony's videos instead?" What the hell, Mom? Like, the only videos that she's watched that I've done is when my wife is in the videos. And I'm like,
it's because she knows somebody's taking care of you. That's what it is.
It's pathetic. It's pathetic. I'm like, all my life, I just want my mom to love what I do, and she could care less. She's like, "I don't care what you do. Like, you're an idiot." Like,
I see what you're turning this into like a full blown therapy session.
Exactly. I'm looking for you to go,
right?
"You got some mommy issues."
My mom doesn't love me. Yeah, let's dig into this, man.
Trying to get some free therapy here. No, it's my dad doesn't know either. My dad will watch it, but if I send him stuff. If I send him stuff, he'll watch it. Has no clue what I'm talking about because he doesn't care about video games. He gets pissed at me. So my room down here, it used to be called the Bat Cave. All right, I had all these glass cases, all these like gigantic big Batman statues. Like he was so proud of this room. Like he literally would call me up and be like, "Hey Bobby, I got my buddy Bill. He's a big Batman fan. Do you mind if we bring him over? I give him a tour of your Bat Cave." And I'm like, "No problem. When do you want to come over?" Like I'm making dates and stuff. This is the best. So this guy Bill comes down, right? And my dad and I, we do not like 1966 Batman. Adam West Batman, we're not fans. Don't like it. Listen,
it's not real. It's not real Batman. It's like it's weird alternate dimension.
Weird Batman. Thing. It literally almost killed comic books. It almost killed Batman. Like that's how bad it was. So I don't have any love for it at all. My dad hates it. My dad was like about 9 or 10 years old when the show came out on TV, and he was just like, he was all amped up because he's a big Batman fan. He was like, "What is this? This is not what." Because the way my dad tells the story is like all these promos and trailers leading in was like really super cool, but then when it actually hit the TV, he was just like, "This is for babies. What is this?" Right? So
come on, like, man. Whatever. What's not to love about the Joker, where you can clearly see that they painted over his mustache?
Thank you.
What's not to love?
Thank you. That's Caesar Romero. Just, he did not even take the role seriously enough to shave his mustache off. Like, come on, man. Like, really? Listen, I'm just gonna end it right here, Chris Berto. I just want to show you, like, this statue right there. Like, dude, there is no bigger Batman fan than me. I'm gonna tell you right now. Like, I am the be all end all. Life size Joker bust. I have the Holy Trinity over there. I got Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. Big gigantic statues of them. Like, so this whole room was set up, right? So this guy comes down, and he's like, he's looking around, and he's like checking out all the stuff, and like I'm explaining to him what it comes, like this statue is based off of Batman Hush, and I got these gigantic posters and all this. It's insane, right? And he goes, he looks at me, he goes, "Do you have any 1966 Batman?" And I look at my dad, and I'm like. And my dad looks at me, and my dad looks at me and goes, get out of my son's basement now. He goes, "Just leave now." And I'm like, dude, why would you even bring that? You see this greatness? He's like, I just like 1966 Batman. I'm like, you just like the worst Batman. I understand. It's okay. So me and my dad start attacking him, right?
It's just like, yeah, it's like, you come to my house, and you insult me.
So me and my dad started attacking him. This is the best. Me and my dad started attacking him, right? We're tag teaming him. Like, I'm hitting him with a hit, and my dad hits him with a hit. So he leaves, right? So they go to work the next day, and they're sitting around drinking coffee on break. All the guys and stuff. My dad's in a construction company. He runs the company. And my dad goes, one of the guys brings up, goes, "Bob, did you and your son really almost kick the crap out of Bill this weekend?" And my dad's like, "What?" He goes, "No." And he goes, "Bill was scared, man." And all of a sudden, they all started asking the question. My dad starts, and Bill's sitting there like, now Bill's making it worse. He goes, "Man, dude, I thought they were going to like attack me down there. I thought they were gonna, he goes, I didn't think I was ever going to make it out of the basement alive." It's like, no way, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was good stuff. But, I don't know. What have you, I'm assuming you haven't seen Justice League yet.
No, I haven't. I did see Thor Ragnarok though,
okay.
And I'm a huge Marvel fan.
That's what you're a big Marvel fan.
I fit. Am I losing you?
No, I got you.
I love the recent like sort of shift of the MCU towards like the cosmic side. You know, like Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I don't know, like, can you see my poster right there, right?
Yeah.
Like one of my like Guardians of the Galaxy is probably like one of my favorite things in the past. Easily like my favorite franchise in the past 5 years. Like it's so good. And I read the comics actually quite a bit before that came out, and I love that. So Thor Ragnarok, dude, super good. I really liked it. Long live Korg and his mighty revolution.
I haven't seen Thor yet. I didn't even see Spider-Man yet.
What?
Yeah, I'm not a big go to the movies for Marvel stuff.
Okay. That's
DC
literally
stuff,
the only stuff that I usually go to.
Yeah, DC stuff I will go. Like I'm going tomorrow to see Justice League. I went to the theater to see Wonder Woman. I'm actually going to go on Secret Friends Unite tomorrow night to do like a spoiler cast of it. You know,
cool.
But I'm just in love with Ben Affleck as Batman. So that's more or less why I bring it up.
I heard he's good in this one too. Like I've heard
he was good in the last one, man. I like him as an actor. I think he's really turned the corner. He really did some good things on his own. Whoever
was responsible for that Martha moment in that movie, though, dude.
Yeah, no, that was. I mean, that is what it is. That's ultimately like that's the writer. You know what I mean? That's not. Yeah. It's kind of. It was hokey.
The writer and every other person who did not speak up and say, "Really, we're going with that?" Like, that's the pivotal moment. Yeah, is that they just both happen to have this. Anyways,
the same mom with the same name. Like that's what's going to pause him as he's. You know what I mean? Like, it was.
There's no motivation. I feel
like, but see, my thing.
They're both mama's boys. Oh,
yeah. I think Zack Snyder just pushed that narrative too quickly. Like that should have been the final movie. You know what I mean? Like, not the first out the gate. Like, I understand you wanted to do the Dark Knight Returns, but the Dark Knight Returns comes after years of brooding and banging heads against each other to get to that point. You don't start off with that. Like, that ends, that's the book end, not the book opening, and it's just like, I didn't like how they did that. But, I mean, I liked the movie. I was good with the movie. I feel like DC does this weird thing where they do similar things as Marvel does, and then they get flack for stuff, and Marvel doesn't get flack for it. And then what DC does is they try to answer those complaints in the next movie, and it doesn't work. Prime example is, so when you watched, I've said this numerous times, Sean Capri, if he's watching, he's going to get pissed at me for saying this, but whatever. So when you watched The Avengers, the first one, they totally destroy New York City, and nobody says a word. Nobody says anything. In The Man of Steel, Superman totally destroys Metropolis, and that's the biggest complaint. Is, they destroyed the entire Metropolis and all this stuff, and this is nonsense. So then, in Batman v Superman, they try to answer that to, like, that's the whole dynamic of why Batman and him are fighting and stuff. And it's like, don't answer this stuff. Just move on. Like, it's just... Jules, please, stop it. Superman would not own Batman. Would you stop? Any true... Stop. Batman... I'm not going to say anything because I'm going to look like an idiot. I'm going to get into this argument and get into it. Like, and
then, here's the thing, though, too, is that, like, instead what you have is like Thor Ragnarok, where they're just like, you know what, let's, like I won't get into spoiler territory, but basically, like, yeah, we tried that whole, like, noble Asgardian on Earth thing a bunch. Let's just throw all that out the window. Yeah. Let's burn this mother down and just turn Thor into Guardians of the Galaxy with Asgardians. Like, let's just do that. And, they like rocked it, and it was just so out of left field that it was super unexpected.
Are you the type of person that, like, gets annoyed with the movie trailers that are coming out now? Like, do you feel like they spoil way too much in the movie trailers?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like, I actually, recently have kind of just sort of pulled back from. I've actually pulled back from social media quite a bit lately. I used to like. I used to have. I mean, going back to like the Google Reader days, you know, like RSS feeds and stuff. Like, I actually still have a pretty. Like I use Feedly and have just tons of RSS feeds and stuff. I used to check those like multiple times a day. Now I'm like, I've got so many things in there. I like scan highlights and stuff, but I never really even, I don't really watch trailers very much anymore. Like even Thor Ragnarok, I saw, like I've seen maybe 1 or 2 trailers for Justice League. But like I really try and avoid them now. Like I've seen maybe one. I think I saw the first trailer for the new Star Wars movie. I've seen the first one, and that's it. So,
and that's how I feel. Like, because I look at Batman v Superman, and I look at it and I go, "Why did you show Doomsday in the trailers? Like that makes no sense." It
was so dumb.
It was dumb. Like you could have just had the roar, and everybody would have been like, "What is that?" It would have pulled off a bigger effect than showing Doomsday, and it was like. Why did you do this? This makes no sense whatsoever. Like I even feel that way. Like when you look at Rise of the Dark Knight or Dark Knight Rises, with the whole they show the football field collapse, and I'm like, why did you show that? Like that should have never been shown. That should have been the surprise of people going to the theater and go, oh my god, the whole football stadium collapsed. Why do we show this? Like, I don't get why they do stuff like that. And it's like, it makes no sense. You know what I mean?
And then, like, I think actually Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 actually did a really good job. I won't spoil that for people who haven't seen it, but like the majority of like all the trailers and all of the clips they showed were within the first half hour of the movie. Yeah. Like, other than a couple of action shots from the final battle, but you don't have any context for what that final battle is. But everything else was like the first, the majority of the trailer was the first action scene of the entire movie, right? That's
good.
Yeah.
So we turned Nintendo talk into superhero talk. I don't know how the hell that happened. Anyway. But
oh hey, no worries. No, good.
I know. Because you know what it is? I don't get to talk about that stuff no more. And because when I had the Geekcast, I got to vent it and go off on it. Then when Alan left the show, I lost it because Toby just doesn't care about it. And when I would bring up them topics and stuff, Toby like, I don't care about this stuff. Like I got no idea. That's what it is. So
at this point, I'm definitely in a place where I'm like, if I had more time, I actually have this dream idea for that I would love to do, but I just don't have time to do it. Is I would love to do like with that new Avengers movie coming out. I would love to do like every week going up to that movie. You just start from Iron Man and you cover you just cover each one of those movies for and it would take you 17 or 18 episodes to get to the next movie, right? And it would take you several months to build up to that, but to just watch every week, you watch one of those movies and you do that. It would be super fun. I don't have time to do it. I would love to do it. I've talked, me and Marty specifically have talked about doing that for a long, we talked about it, and I even had this idea of maybe doing more of it's interesting to kind of look at the character, do some character analysis of that too, of what are the characters for me, that's always the most interesting part of a superhero movie is the actual character motivations. And Avengers was cool, but I actually way rather prefer getting to see, I know a lot of people kind of hated Iron Man 3, but to see this very human version of Tony Stark, I was like, no, this is cool. This is surprise, the therapist is saying this, but for me, that was really interesting, is to let's dig into the heart of these characters away from all the action. Whereas in Avengers, they're caricatures of themselves and not very, interesting. So exactly. I would love to do that, but I ain't nobody got time for that.
Exactly. So Zach, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate this. It was a blast.
Yeah, man, it's been fun.
real quick before you leave, again, real quick, just let everybody know where they can find you, find everything you guys do, and all that stuff.
Yeah, so if you want to find me, you can on Twitter at Zac Erickson. That's ZACERICKSON. And if you want Nintendo Dads, you can go over to Nintendo Dads, which is, it is what it is. It's very self-descriptive. And, if you're looking for a therapist in the Edmonton, Alberta, go to shiftpsych.com, and you can set up an appointment if that's something you're interested in. But that's also, we'll talk about Bobby's mom. I don't know.
Come on, man.
Bobby's that's not what I meant.
Yeah. Okay. Pull it back together, Zach.
I don't know. Shot that one too far. It was
exactly. Thank you guys for coming out tonight. I truly appreciate it. It means the world to me, all the support you guys give us and all that. Trying to figure out what we're doing this weekend. There's talks that me and Sean might do something on Sunday night. We don't know yet. We'll figure it out, and we'll let you know tomorrow some point. But that is all. Peace out, Preston.